Hi, everyone. We're just going to give it a quick minute or two to let everyone else finish joining the webinar, and then we'll get started. So just give us about 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes, and then we'll jump into everything. All right, so it doesn't look like the numbers are jumping up too much anymore, so we'll go ahead and jump in and get started. I first wanted to say that this webinar is being recorded and will be posted on HeroX in the coming days. So please feel free to reference this later on. If you are watching live or if you are unable to make this webinar and watch it later, this will be posted. Please also use either the chat or the Q&A function to post any questions that you have, and we'll make sure we leave some time at the end of the webinar to go through those. So welcome everyone to the informational webinar for round two of the Energy Storage Innovations Prize. This prize was made possible by the Department of Energy's Office of Electricity, and my name is Noah Kobayashi, and I'm the prize lead for this one. So very quickly, I did want to touch on a agenda for today's webinar. We'll start off with a couple different overviews. We'll first jump into the Office of Electricity overview. Then I'll go over the American-Made Challenges program if you're new to us and have never competed in one of our prizes before. Then we'll jump directly into the prize itself with, again, a quick overview of round two, what it looks like for you all to apply to the prize and what are the submission requirements. And then we'll move into some available competitor support, which we call power connectors. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we'll leave some time at the end for some questions. So first things first, I did want to hand it over to Keelan Callahan from DOE's Office of Electricity to provide a quick overview about the Office of Electricity itself and where this prize fits in. Caitlin?
Hello, everyone. Yes, I am the Director of Storage Materials and Systems within the Office of Electricity, and it's our team that's excited to bring this prize to you all. We just wanted to hit some highlights with regard to the Office of Electricity as a whole, and then sort of the scope of what our storage work looks like. As you can see here on the page, we have a mission that's very much focused on a reliable, resilient, and secure electricity delivery system. And we really value working closely with industry and other stakeholders to drive technology solutions and operational advancements to help make that happen. I want to emphasize, OE is very much a sort of electron agnostic office, and we're very much focused on the infrastructure and the enabling technologies for that infrastructure. When you have access to these slides, there are lots of clickable items on them. The YouTube video in the upper right-hand corner will give you a larger picture of our office and hit highlights that are relevant to other grid components, both hardware and software and communications related. And the QR code will take you to our webpage if you want to take a look at that now. And I also just wanted to note that in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a link to our website, including a page on Join Our Team, which will give you some, sort of a sense of what the office has available for options for anybody who might be looking. Additionally, you'll have clickable links for our social media on Facebook, X, and in LinkedIn. If you want to go to the next slide. So specific to our energy storage division within the Office of Electricity, this slide is really trying to give you a sense of the different types of activities in the spectrum of engagement that we have across our teams. We're comprised of 3 teams. The cost competitive and long duration energy storage scope is aligned with the materials and systems team. Grid and field validation and reliability and safety work is aligned with our storage validation team. And then on the far right, you see the storage analytics, and that's attached to our storage analysis team. And really, this just kind of shows the representative activities across our portfolio. This prize that we're talking about today is really focused on a mix of the cost competitive and long duration space within my team, and sort of touch points into that sort of validation space a little bit, just in terms of being able to identify sort of those less mature activity or less mature technologies and how they potentially aligned to less conventional or excuse me, less conventional use cases. So really just kind of a matchmaking opportunity, if you will. But this slide really just kind of shows the breadth of work that we do, and it not only starts from the materials end and gets to towards the through the reliability and safety and field demonstration and validation space, but also just want to highlight too that we look across different technologies, which you can see on the left hand side, including the power electronics that helps make these energy storage systems talk to the applications that they're intended for. And with that, I believe we will hand it back to Noah for the rest of the prize overview.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Caitlin. It's always great to hear from the DOE office themselves about, what it is their office is doing, along with, their program office focus, and then also where do these prizes fit into that goal and that mission. So really appreciate you joining us this morning, and I'll keep moving on in the webinar. So like I mentioned, I did want to quickly touch base about the American Made Challenges program. Again, if you're new to our program and have never competed in one of our prizes, so the American Made program is funded by the U.S. Department of Energy, but administered by the National Renewable Energy Lab, or NREL. And we like to say that the American Made program is your fast track to the clean energy revolution. And so we incentivize innovation through prizes, training, teaming, and mentoring, really trying to connect the nation's entrepreneurs and innovators to America's national lab complex and the private sector. And so our program started in 2018 with a single prize. And since then, we've constantly been growing our program and our prize portfolio. And we're really excited to not only include round two of the Energy Storage Innovations Prize in this portfolio, but we've to date we've done over 100 prizes across 500 network members, and we've been able to provide over $400 million in cash prizes and support. And so one of the questions we get a lot in the American Made program is, what's the difference between a grant versus a prize? Why would someone do a prize instead of a grant? And so as you can see, the grant process is depicted on the left, and there's a lot of different steps that you have to go through in order to receive the award and then begin your work. And it can be really a very lengthy timeline with applications, milestone negotiation, reimbursements. And if you were to start something, you kind of have to redo it, restart some of that process. Prizes, which are depicted on the right-hand side of your screen, are meant to be a much more streamlined version, and that you don't have to jump through a lot of the same hoops when compared to the grant process. And all you have to do really is complete the predefined goals that are outlined in all of our official rules documents, complete your submission packet and submit it to our platform prior to the deadline. We then bring in judges, both external and internal, to review your submissions and score it. DOE makes the ultimate decision, and once we select winners, we send out the checks, and these checks allow you to use the funds however you need. And the funds really do allow you to put money wherever it is that's needed to have the most impact on your innovation. And so with that, I want to jump into the Energy Storage Innovations Prize round two a little bit more specifically. So a very quick snapshot of round two. It's a call for new, innovative, and promising energy storage solutions to address niche markets and grow a community of innovators. This round specifically focuses on less conventional use cases, and that can be things like remote and or underserved communities or extreme climates, as well as innovative or less mature energy storage technology solutions across all duration scales in an effort to advance the market landscape. And this prize also really aims to gain insights on these, innovative, emerging, and next generation energy storage solutions and help inform DOE's strategy on transformative storage technologies and really to accelerate grid modernization for all consumers while also achieving that much needed reliability, affordability, and energy security. And we're really happy to announce that round two offers a total prize pool of $300,000 across up to 10 winners. So up to five of these winners will be crowned champions and will receive $50,000 cash each. And up to five of these teams will be awarded as finalists, receiving $10,000 cash each. I do also want to note that these winners will be required to participate in a DOE promotional video post prize. So, we really encourage teams to start thinking about capturing maybe some footage of their own that could be utilized in a DOE promotional video and start thinking about, if you are going to be one of our winners, what can you showcase to DOE and really highlight for DOE, but also for yourselves because you can also use this as a promotional, piece for you and your team or your company as well. And so I did want to talk a little bit about eligibility. And the first thing that I want to note is that this is only some of the eligibility. We really encourage all teams, all competitors to read the official rules document. And please refer to that official rules document for the complete list of eligibility requirements. But to start, this prize is open to individuals, teams of individuals, private entities, whether that's a for-profit or nonprofit, and any non-federal government entities, such as states, counties, tribes, municipalities, and academic institutions. And again, these are some of the um, primary eligibility requirements. An individual prize competitor or team can only submit a single application. An individual prize competitor who's not competing as part of a team or a group must be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. A group of individuals competing as one team may win, provided that the online account holder of the submission is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Private entities must be incorporated in and maintain a primary place of business in the United States. And then lastly, academic institutions must also be based in the US. So again, this is a very brief snapshot of the um, the eligibility requirements for this prize. Please refer to the official rules document for the entire list and make sure that you and your team or your organization meet all of those requirements. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on was the different technologies of interest or technologies that are eligible to compete in this prize. And you can see some example technologies listed here in this table. This table is also available in the official rules document. But what I did want to specifically call out here is that this is a non-exhaustive list of eligible technologies. Um, and there are plenty of others that are not on this list that are of interest for this prize. So just because your energy storage technology isn't listed on this table, please still apply to the prize so long as all submitted technologies have to discharge electricity. Again, if your technology isn't listed on this, please don't worry. As long as um, as long as it discharges electricity, we want to hear from you. We would love to see your submission. So please submit. And again, this table for reference is also listed in the official rules document, which you can use to guide you in your application and submission. And speaking of that, I did want to cover a little bit about what it looks like to apply to this prize. And the first thing that we always tell all competitors is to please read the official rules document, cover to cover, every single word, beginning to end. There's a lot of really important information in there. Like I mentioned previously, I only covered some of the eligibility requirements. Everything you need to know is listed in this official rules document. So we really encourage all teams to read through everything, um, and everything that you need to know about the prize or all submission requirements or anything else is listed in this document. And most of the time, competitor questions, the answer is in the rules documents. We really do encourage you all to read this. They're available in a couple different locations. If you go to the Hero X page, under the resources tab, you can find a copy there. You can also go to the AmericanMadeChallenges.org website and search for Energy Storage Innovations Prize Round 2. And you'll get be able to pull up a copy of the rules there as well. Taking a quick look at the different things you'll be submitting for this prize, there's really 6 components here. The first thing is a 90-second video. We also are asking for a single summary slide, and then a cover page, a competitor background, a benefit cost analysis worksheet, and a technical concept paper. And I'll go into each of these in just a moment. So starting with the online public video, really this video serves as the first piece of introduction of your team or you and your solution to our reviewers. Again, this is 90 seconds only, but we encourage you to put things in there such as describing your solution, including your use case and why it's less conventional, identifying the market, the community or sector or any other group that your solution will impact, and also like indicate who you are or who's your organization and your team members and why you have that competitive edge. And so while our judges won't be explicitly providing a score on your video, it will be reviewed as part of your entire submission package. So please do put a little bit of time and effort into creating a video for the reviewers, for DOE, and for everyone else. And really, again, this is that first intro of your team and your solution to our reviewers. That's usually where our reviewers like to start is watching the video so they can kind of get a sense of what they'll be diving into. Moving into the competitor background, this section aims to provide reviewers with some information about you or your team's familiarity or experience with similar projects, and also provide any context about your organization and what resources you have available in this prize and after the prize. I did want to note that this section has a maximum word limit of 500 words, including your section headers, but it does not include any words contained in captions, tables, figures, or graphs. And you will have to put the exact word count of this section on your cover page. And then if you decide to utilize any captions, tables, figures, or graphs in this section, I did want to note to all teams that across your technical concept paper and your competitor background, you may include up to 5 supporting images, tables, figures, or graphs. So if you include some in your competitor background, that does decrease the number that you can have in your technical concept paper. Again, that up to 5 count is across both your competitor background and your technical concept paper. We also want to take a moment to note that DOE does encourage all teams to consider diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and applications as they form their teams and their submissions. However, this isn't a score part in the submission. But again, we do want to encourage all teams to consider any of these initiatives as they form their teams or solution impacts and even their submissions themselves. And some of the suggested content for your competitor background can include describing your either you or your team's relevant background, any past experiences with projects similar to this prize, any information about uh, your team or your organization, if applicable, and then as well as identifying any resources that you and your team or your organization have and that are available to support the proposed technology solution. And then moving into the technical concept paper, you'll have 3,000 words to address these um, four questions. So the first one being, what is your talking about your solution? What is your innovative solution and its less conventional use case? Second, talking about your the benefits and costs, and I'll touch on more about that in just a second. But what are the expected costs and benefits of your solution? How does your solution support DOE's goals for providing affordable, equitable, resilient, and reliable energy, or other DOE priorities such as sustainable domestic supply chains? You'll also talk about the challenges in regards with what challenges are associated with with the development and execution of your solution. And then lastly, how would you further develop or commercialize your solution? Again, you'll have up to 3,000 words to address these four questions, and you have up to that five supporting images, figures, or graphs. Again, that five count does tie into any of the images, figures, or graphs that you do include in your competitor background as well. So please make note of that. Um, we are only allowing up to five. If you include more than that, we will ask reviewers to not consider those as part of your submission. And so taking a little bit more out of that second question about that benefits and costs, teams will also be asked to complete a benefit cost analysis or BCA worksheet. And so competitors must complete this BCA to organize the detailed benefits and costs of your energy storage solution over your solution's lifetime. Um, anything um, we would ask competitors to discuss their overall approach to determining those benefits and costs in the technical concept paper, and also use that technical concept paper to discuss any qualitative benefits or costs that you weren't able to estimate dollar values. Competitors should also use positive net present values or NPVs for benefits, negative for costs, and provide really clear and complete details so that reviewers can easily follow your method and your reasoning. And then competitors may use, with the appropriate citations, the results of models, demonstrations, or studies from literature to inform your analysis. Again, please cite those and make those very detailed so that our reviewers can follow your line of thinking and how you came to the result that you did. And then I did also, again, want to note that your submission won't necessarily be scored negatively if costs outweigh your benefits, but rather it's your approach and your reasoning that will really be evaluated as well. Um, so again, please make sure that's really clear and detailed for our reviewers so they can follow your line of thinking and how you got to the results that you did. That part's going to be very important for our reviewers in being able to accurately score and review your submission. And then we do have a couple different templates that have been made available on the HeroX platform. They are under the resources tab on the prize page. So we have a cover page and technical concept paper template made available. And then we also wanted to note and understand that teams may have confidential information either in their technical concept paper or their benefit cost analysis worksheet that they don't necessarily want to disclose. So we've provided two different benefit cost analysis worksheet templates, both a non-confidential and a confidential version for teams to utilize if you so choose. Use of these templates is not required. I do want to make that very clear. you do not have to use the templates we've provided. We are hoping to make um, these available to you so you can understand what we're looking for and meets the prize requirements. But again, they aren't required for you to use. However, if teams do decide to make their own submission without using these templates, teams must include all of the required information that's listed in the official rules document, as well as abide by any of the denoted specific file formats, as well as any confidentiality markings. Again, all of that is listed in the official rules document, and that's why I have repeatedly said that all competitors and teams really do need to um, read through the official rules document in its entirety. Everything you need to know is in there, particularly about marking confidential information. That part is very important and is listed in there. And so once you've completed all the different documents and you're ready to submit, everything will be submitted on the HeroX page. So if you go to herox.com/storage innovations round two, once you're ready, you'll hit that blue solve this challenge button. You'll create an account if necessary, and then you'll be prompted to enter in all your submission information. Submissions are due by April 21st, 2025 at 5 p.m. Eastern. We do not accept late submissions, so please make sure you get your submission into the HeroX portal by 5 p.m. Eastern. We encourage all teams to submit obviously earlier than that in case you run into any issues. You can reach out to myself or anyone else on the prize team or HeroX to get it resolved. But once that 5 p.m. cutoff hits, we are unable to accept any late submission. So again, please submit early. Definitely the earlier, the better. But at the very least, submit on time, please. We want to see your missions, and we hate turning away teams who are trying to submit after that cutoff time. And lastly, touching a little bit about some of the available competitor support, we have two organizations that we call Power Connectors. These are organizations that the American Made Program contracts with and works with to provide support to you all. So in this prize specifically, we will have ADL Ventures providing mentorship through office hours throughout the length of the prize. This is a free resource to you all. They're made available to you to ask any questions, get clarification on if your technology might be eligible and within the scope of the prize, if you need help putting together your video or again trying to work through some of those submission requirements. That they really are there to help you. And again, this is a free resource. And so we do really encourage all teams to take advantage of it. Um, and then they also work with us directly. And, if you have a question for them that they're unable to answer, they will forward it to us and the prize team to get it answered. Please really do take advantage of them. We love it when teams work with our power connectors, and it definitely does help create a stronger submission for you. One of the last few things is the next steps. So please make sure you're following the prize page on HeroX. That's how you'll get notified of any prize updates or prize changes. That's really one of the most important things throughout this prize or any of our prizes really is making sure that you're following the prize so you can see any updates, see any changes that's being made to the prize throughout. Again, please read through the official rules document. That's again made available in two different places on HeroX under the resources tab. That's where you can also find the different prize templates. But please read through cover to cover. And then again, the official rules document is also made available on our AmericanMadeChallenges.org website as well. So two different locations you can access the rules. And again, please really do read through that document in its entirety. And then last thing, please submit your submission through HeroX. it has to be through the portal. It cannot be to the prize team or in any other form. It has to be through HeroX before April 21st, 2025 at 5 p.m. Eastern. Again, that's a very hard deadline, and we do not accept late submissions. And then lastly, if you have any questions or need any further clarification, please reach out to us at Energy Storage Innovations Prize at nrel.gov. That comes directly to us, the prize team, where we can answer any questions. But please make sure you've read through the rules document first before sending us an email, because most of the time your question will be answered in the official rules document. But if you feel like it's not, please reach out to us. The other option is you can't post on Hero X under the forum tab if you feel like it's a question that may benefit some of the other teams. If you're asking, where can I find some template or something else? Again, if you think it's something that might benefit multiple teams, please feel free to post it in the forum, and um, we'll respond there for all teams to see. So with that, that's the end of today's informational webinar. Uh, Again, please put any of your questions into the chat if you don't have anything. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to seeing your submissions in April. Again, please submit early. Before that deadline, we don't take late submissions. And please reach out to us if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Noah. And I can get started with some of the questions that we've received in our Q&A. The first one is the slide showing cost competitive and LDS noted non-lithium technologies as the focus, but the example price technologies of interest does show lithium ion. Could you confirm that lithium ion technology is eligible?
Caitlin, do you want to take this? I would say as long as it discharges electricity, it is within the scope of the prize. But Caitlin, can you confirm if lithium ion is available and within the scope of the prize?
Yeah, when folks review the prize rules document, they'll see that what we're looking for are either new technologies or more mature technologies being used in new ways. So I would suggest that lithium would potentially fall into that category in terms of meeting one of the less conventional use cases.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. And then another question we have, and speaking of that discharge, is if the submitted technology system must discharge electricity, how is it a storage system?
So Caitlin, I might throw that one back to you as well.
Sure. So the way we view discharging is when you are when you've stored the energy, when you go to use it, we want it to be able to be used in the form of electrons and thus discharge as electricity. So that's the concept that we're looking for here. Essentially, electricity being stored or energy being stored for the purposes of electricity.
Great. And another question is, how secure is this prize to continue considering the incoming president? An example, what is the risk of the incoming president stopping or eliminating this prize and other Department of Energy American-made prize competitions?
So this prize is launched, and we like to think that any administration changes will not impact any of our prizes going forward. We are excited to work with the next administration and continue growing our portfolio of prizes and impacting the energy sector across the U.S., across different Department of Energy offices, and supporting competitors. So this prize is almost guaranteed to continue through our April 21st deadline.
Thank you. And I could add on to that as well that we've been around already to go through Obama administration, the first Trump administration, and Biden. And we've been, happy and successful in all of those administrations. All right. Another question is the list of mentors or power connectors currently available, and can we contact them for assistance currently?
So that's a good question. Um, that resource is not quite available to teams. We are working on that, and that once it is available, we will post on HeroX as an update how to get in touch with ADL Ventures um, and book them with the office hours. So again, that's why we make it super clear that teams should follow the prize page on HeroX to be getting those updates and see when those resources do become available to teams. But at the moment, it's unfortunately not available. But again, we will post as soon as it becomes available for teams to book an office hours with them and a one-on-one meeting as well.
Great. And another question about the upcoming administration. Have these funds been obligated? And if not, are they potentially at risk?
Uh, Again, that we're excited to work with the next administration. This prize has been fully obligated, um, and is set to go with this next administration, both the current administration, next one. We again don't see any issues working under um, the next administration and continuing to grow our prize program.
Great, thank you. And as products and solutions that are working toward commercialization preferred over concepts only?
That's a good question. Caitlin, I might bring that one back to you. I think, again, as long as it meets the less conventional use cases, um, or is serving, um, underserved communities or something like that, I think it is still within the scope of the prize. But Caitlin, I'm going to pass that question over to you.
Yes, Stacy, could you repeat the question for me?
Yeah, of course. Are products and solutions that are working toward commercialization preferred over concepts only?
Thank you. So we are happy to entertain any potential technology solution that, as Noah was saying, meets what we're asking for in the prize rules. So again, thinking about what those less conventional use cases are and how you're addressing them with that technology solution.
Great, thank you. Okay, great. And any expectations regarding TRL of the technology?
I think, Caitlin, you kind of touched on that last one, and I think that does relate back to the previous question about commercialization. I think as long as it's meeting the scope of the prize, we're happy to entertain, different TRLs. Again, as so long as they are meeting and working towards niche use cases and or less mature technologies. But Caitlin, please feel free to jump in if that's incorrect.
Yeah, I would just augment that with also thinking about innovative or new applications for existing technologies, which is probably something closer to that commercialization end of that spectrum.
Okay, great. Thank you. And one last question I answered in the chat, but would love to say out loud as well is how are prizes different from grants?
Yeah, so I touched on that a little bit earlier. Grants typically are a longer process, and there is a lot more um, requirements to go through, such as the application process, negotiating milestones, receiving payment, and then you have a very prescriptive use on how to use those funds. Um, Grants definitely tend to have a longer timeline. Prizes, on the other hand, are meant to be much more streamlined and easier, especially on the competitor side, to compete in and get awarded. So really, prizes are you read through the official rules document, you complete the predefined goal, you submit, again, that predefined submission package, um, and then we send it to both external and internal reviewers to review and score. Once we make that determination on who the winners are, we immediately start sending out the prize funds. You get that as a check. and teams are able to utilize prize funds however they wish to make the most impact on their innovation and their solution. And that's probably one of the biggest differences between prizes and grants.
Thank you. And I'll just add one thing that with prizes, you get awarded for the work you've already done, whereas grants, you get the money to complete some work and continue reporting on it. Great. A couple more questions for right now, and participants, feel free to keep the questions coming. In the past, how many competitors applied and how many prizes were awarded?
So that's a good question. I don't know that off the top of my head, but the energy storage innovations prize, that first round, is still available on HeroX, so you can read through that official rules document, see which teams and which solutions won, depending on what was eligible to be made public at their time of submission. Um, but please feel free to go back to round one's page and look through, again, who submitted and what technologies in the end were awarded.
Great, thank you. And I am on that page and typing the answer in the chat. Okay, and then another question is, why does this prize focus on niche use cases and not innovative storage technologies that have potential for broad use cases? Will there be a separate prize for innovative technology for broad use cases?
So I think Caitlin, I might hand that over to you, specifically about the why DOE is looking for the niche use cases in this round.
Sure. DOE supports a number of different activities, and we try to sort of customize their scope to make them complementary. And at this time, this is the opportunity that we've identified to look at those niche use cases. That doesn't mean that other use cases or broader application spaces are not of interest. The first round touched on that a bit, and other funding opportunities that have happened in the past have also touched on those kinds of opportunity spaces, not just from the Office of Electricity, but across DOE. So again, we just wanted to use this opportunity to look at those more niche use cases to look for solutions potentially to support those.
Thank you. Great. And we have no more open questions, so I'll turn it back to you, Noah.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, everyone, to all the people who joined this webinar live. Thank you all so much for your interest. Again, please follow the prize page on HeroX, read through the rules, and get your submissions in by that April 21st deadline. Thank you, Stacy, and thank you to Caitlin for joining us and helping us run this webinar and answering questions. I think with that, we're good to sign off, but thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.